All right, good evening, everybody. We are going to go ahead and get started here on this episode of Tech Thursdays. This is going to be episode 133. As you guys may have guessed from the preview here, it's going to be about DDR5. In particular, RAM prices have gone through the roof. There has been a massive increase in the price of DDR5, and also LPDDR5X is also going up. We'll talk about the data center market as well. Really, I guess if you want to play the blame game, the reason for memory prices is the topic that we've talked about last week, which was all about AI. So AI is causing the demand for memory chips to go through the roof. It is skyrocketing. Samsung in particular has already kind of written or closed on several contracts for the next 4 years. And I think SK Hynix is in the same boat. So they have to deliver DRAM to a lot of these AI, we're calling them neo clouds now. That's like the new terminology for a lot of these deployments for the hyperscalers. So AI, man, just when you thought you were tired of hearing about AI is here to stay, and it is really going to cause a massive headache for the gamers, the PC DIYers, basically anyone who wants to build a computer for a decent price. Well, unfortunately, a year ago was your window of opportunity to upgrade. I talked about this. You go back and watch the episodes of Tech Thursdays from a year ago, and you would have seen I was saying back then, now is the time to do the platform upgrade. So this year was the time to do the GPU upgrade. Last year was the time to do the CPU and the what I call the platform upgrade. So that means go to DDR5, get a new CPU, get a new motherboard, etc. Everything but the GPU was last year, and now throughout the course of this year, it has been the GPU. So that's kind of the upgrade cycle. I mean, unless you were someone who was holding out for a like a dual CCD X3D chip or whatever, or like the 9950 X3D came out earlier this year. So if you were waiting for that CPU, then I guess you would have upgraded earlier this year when that CPU came out. So you would not have been affected by the memory prices. So let's go ahead and get into some of the articles here. We're going to talk about memory from the context, not just the pricing increases, but also we're going to do some live demos here on if you're running 4 sticks of memory, because we've done a lot of content on this channel about DDR5 and memory stability and 4 sticks of memory in particular, and dual rank DIMMs and that kind of thing. And despite doing all those videos, people have still been asking questions about DDR5, like, oh, I can't get my RAM to run at a high speed or whatever. So we're going to cover that live. We're going to get into that later in the stream. So let's talk about the RAM real quick, the pricing. So DDR5 memory is now twice as expensive. 16 and 32 gigabyte prices hit all-time high across all major retailers. So if you're somebody who waited and waited and waited, well, at this point, you're either going to have to spend way more money on memory than you were probably planning to initially, or you're probably going to wait another year because we're going to be stuck with high memory prices. The prices are still going up as we speak. So I'm hearing the price won't stabilize until April, so Q2 of 2026. That means Q4, which is now, and Q1 of 2026, so that's January through March of next year, will have very high memory prices. And the thing is, it's not just DDR5 that's going to have this problem. GDDR6 and GDDR7 is also at risk of having massive price increases. That means that GPUs are going to start increasing in price. In fact, The Founders Edition, the first I've seen of this, the Founders Edition RTX 5090 at Best Buy is now $1,500 on bestbuy.com. Someone can double check me on that because I checked it yesterday and I saw, sure enough, the Founders Edition RTX 5080 was $1,499, up $500 over its original MSRP of $999. So the RTX 5080, the price is going up rapidly, so expect the AIB cards to start going up. The 5090 in particular is starting to be very hard to obtain. The supply of the 5090 is starting to dry up because NVIDIA is allocating the wafers to the professional, so the RTX Pro 6000. So if you want an RTX Pro 6000 and you haven't like $9,000 to throw on a graphics card, I don't recommend doing that. But if you have that kind of money, then that card is actually easy to get right now, but the 5090 is starting to become harder to get, which is significantly cheaper. So yeah, the prices of GPUs are going to unfortunately start trending upward, just like the price of DDR5, because as you guys know, GPUs include VRAM with them, and the price of RAM in general, just memory chips in general, doesn't matter what kind of memory it is. It could be DDR5, LPDDR5X, it could be CAM2 form factor, DIMM, RDIMM. Well, I don't know about RDIMM. We'll talk about RDIMM later. But GDDR6, so that's the AMD GPUs. GDDR7, that's the NVIDIA GPUs. Both of them are at risk of seeing massive price increases. So let's talk about the DDR5 article here. So there's been a lot of articles that have been popping up. Bad news for gamers and PC builders. DDR5 memory modules are now twice as expensive, all due to shortages caused by AI demand. Yeah, and we talked about AI last week. So if you missed the episode 132 of Tech Thursdays, and you're interested in understanding how AI works or how it's deployed from a hardware on the ground standpoint. So we're not talking about CUDA, we're not talking about software, where we're talking about how what NVIDIA calls AI factories work, how they are architected, how they are designed. If you want to understand that, basically the underlay of AI infrastructure, you definitely should check out last week's episode of Tech Thursdays. I had people in the chat declare this is beyond enthusiast. This is pro fanatic levels of hardware discussion, what we did yesterday or last week. So yeah, what we talked about last week is literally the reason this memory fiasco is happening now. So if you want to understand the backstory of why DDR5, why memory is going up, why GPUs are going up, why SSDs are also going up, go watch that episode of Tech Thursdays if you didn't tune into that. Because that explains, it doesn't directly talk about this shortage issue, but it is the reason for this shortage issue. So it's the root cause. So anyway, so basically you can blame it on AI. And AI is not going away. You know, I've been trying to understand AI. Like I've been trying to do a lot of development effort in my spare time, trying to really understand. That was the whole reason why I did that dual Radeon AI Pro 9700 build with Threadripper recently, so that I can actually run massive AI models and do all kinds of inferencing workloads. And then I'm also going to try to figure out like how how AI model training works. And we may do a follow-up video on that. I am going to do some benchmark comparisons of running multi-GPU versus single GPU versus like really big AI models versus unified architecture. So for example, I want to compare Strix Halo, so the Ryzen AI Max, one of those versus one Radeon versus like one 5090 versus like two Radeon 9700 GPUs. So those are the sort of ideas for video content in the future that I'm throwing around. Now, we've been doing a lot of like product videos recently, a lot of like Thunderbolt 5, USB-C, docking station, things like that. So now that we've kind of covered a lot of the hardware stuff, the peripherals for like AI pods, now we're going to start digging into like benchmarks and performance and that sort of thing. So that's kind of like I guess a teaser trailer of what to expect on the channel in the future. But anyway, so DDR5 prices are going up. I think everybody knows. So pretty much the price of DDR5 has regressed back by like 24 months, somewhere around there. So, or it might be a little bit worse, but I don't know. So actually, yeah, it is worse than 2 years ago. So the price of the DDR5 now is almost back to the pricing from like 2022, from like Zen 4 launch and 13900K. When those CPUs came out, DDR5 was in the price range that it's at now. So we have regressed in terms of pricing on DDR5 by like 3 years. That's pretty insane. So that right there is a red flag in terms of like, should you buy DDR5 now or should you wait? Well, if you've been saving up for a long time for your PC upgrade, I mean, I'm not going to try to tell you don't upgrade now, but just keep in mind that unfortunately, you're going to have to end up paying a lot more on memory than what you had to be able to pay a few months ago. So case in point, Micro Center. So if we bring up Micro Center real quick, everybody loves Micro Center. Micro Center has these really good bundles, but guess what? Micro Center, up until now, Micro Center was providing 3-in-1 combo. You were able to get memory for free. You were basically able to get 32 gigabytes of DDR5 at 6,000 megatransfers. So basically gamer memory as a starter kit in their bundles for free. So case in point, this bundle deal in particular, the 9700X with the Gigabyte B650 Gaming X. I know like 3 individuals that I know personally that ended up buying this exact bundle. This one that's $350. It was literally the same price a year ago, and they got the memory for free. Or maybe it was like one of them it was like 6 months ago, one of them it was literally a year ago, and the other one I think it was like around Christmas last year or whatever. So basically, now Micro Center has removed the free RAM. So you can't get free RAM from Micro Center anymore. That is the proof that there is a shortage coming with DDR5 because of this AI stuff. The fact that you can't get free RAM from Micro Center anymore. The prices are exactly the same, only now it's only the motherboard and the CPU. Now there's no more free RAM. So if you want the RAM, now guess what? You have to, if you want 16 gigs of memory, and this is the exact same free memory that they're giving away for free. Now you got to pay $90 for 16 gigabytes, or $190, almost $200, or if you want the Corsair RGB one, $200 for 32 gigs of DDR5. That was literally free a few weeks ago. Now you have to pay full price, or actually more than what it's worth, like on its own previously. So the price of memory has shot through the roof, and it's probably going to be like this until spring of next year. And even then, I think that the high performance SKUs are going to stay real expensive and in very, very low supply for a long time. Now, the scariest thing is there's people saying that these memory manufacturers, so Samsung, Hynix, etc., Micron possibly as well, they have to fulfill these orders for the next 4 years. The next 4 years. So that means that I don't know what's going to happen to DDR5. What it probably means is DDR5 will come down eventually, but it will not come down to the price it was a few months ago for at least a year and a half. Because like I said, we have regressed by 3 years in memory price structure. So the price of memory trend downward for like 3 years, 4 years in a row since the launch of DDR5. DDR5 is now 4 years old. It's the same age as Intel's 12th gen CPUs. So those are 4-year-old CPUs. And when you think about that, after 4 years, DDR5 has gone down, 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 down. Now they're saying that these guys have to fulfill the orders for the next 4 years. So now we've lost 3 years of progress. So now you have 3 to 4 more years of price to trending downward again. And I don't know where the peak is in terms of the price of this RAM. Like, the price is probably going to creep up a little bit more. The other thing that we haven't even talked about yet is SSDs. Like, SSD drives are also going up, unfortunately, because NAND flash is it's all manufactured by these same companies that are doing the RAM chips. So they got to make orders for the storage for AI, and that's a massive thing. And the thing is, you got to remember, AI storage is not like normal storage. It's not like long-term storage where you're going to keep a file on there for like years and years. No. AI needs to be read-write accessible rapidly. So it needs to be read-write optimized, which means the type of storage that these AI factories need are something called object-based storage. And because of that, they're having to use up all the NAND flash if they're doing SSD, which they are, for performance reasons, for latency reasons. So SSDs are going to be affected too. It is what it is. I don't know like to what degree SSDs will go up in price and then come back down. I don't know what the time frame is on that, but I know that DDR5 unfortunately is going to go up, stay up for a long time, come down a little bit every couple of months, and eventually after like 3 years it'll probably be back to probably, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 years. No more than 4 years though, I would say, for the price of DDR5 to come back down. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but there are still some pretty good bundles. Intel, same deal. Micro Center also has the Intel bundles. Same thing, no more free RAM. So that is really unfortunate. So yeah, it is what it is. They were throwing the memory. They were throwing memory away. Yeah, they were giving that, and that was good memory too. That wasn't even like bad RAM. Like the free RAM that you would get from Micro Center was gamer memory. It was DDR5 6000. It's not like they're giving you some bargain bin DDR5 4800. No. They were giving you DDR5, I think it was DDR5 6000 CL32. That is excellent starter kit, and 32 gigs. Not 16 gigs, 32 gigs. So that was a really good starter kit for someone building their first PC, for example. So unfortunately, now you got to pay for the RAM. You don't get the RAM for free anymore. So, yeah. 2 SATA SSD. See, so let me see. Let's do like, how do we do... Where's this PC part picker? So let's do some stuff here. Let me see. So let's build like the typical gamer CPU thing or whatever. So, Ryzen 7 9700X, or maybe the Intel 265 or 245. That one's what, how much is this one? This one is $295. So if we get this for the gamers, and then it needs a cooler, so just put a cooler on there. And we want a gamer motherboard, so that would be, you know, like X870 E or something. The gamers would probably choose something like this. So what are we at? We're at $600 for just the CPU and the motherboard. So now you got to pay for the memory. Now look at this. This is where it's stupid expensive. This is ridiculously expensive. 32 gigs for $200. Not $200, $210. So there's the Crucial Pro for like $150. So let's put this Crucial Pro on here. So that's 32 gigs. But see, I don't recommend 32 gigs. Like if I'm doing a gamer build, we're doing 48 gigs minimum. 48 gigs minimum. This is what I call the minimum for the gamers. So this would be, well, 64 is even more ideal. But let's see. Why are they doing these results? This is weird. I want to do 48 gigs. 48 gigabytes. So the 48 gigabytes is the secret number because this is like your best. This is your best performance class because 48 gigs is single. Wait, no, this is not right either. Hold on. Okay, I meant 24 gig DIMMs. Like what? There we go. 2x24. Yeah, 2x24. So 48 gigabytes total. This is the good stuff right here. Wait, no, that's too good. Here's the good stuff. Oh my goodness, $300. Oh my goodness, my magic memory is $300. Yeah, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world, guys. It's over. It's the end. This is it. It's game over. It's game over. My magic memory is $300. It's it. GG. I'm done. I'm not building PCs anymore. Cold winter. It's gonna be a cold winter. No more PCs. It's over. $300 for 48 gigs. It's over. Oh man, this is the end. This is the end, guys. The PC gamers are cooked. The PC gamers are cooked. $300 for the magic memory. Oh ho 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 ho. Okay, choose storage. Oh, the SSDs. Oh man, the SSDs. Whoa, the SSDs. The gamer SSD. Where's the gamer SSD? Hold up. Where's the gamer SSD? Man, why do they do this like this? This is awful. This is straight up awful. I'm serious. Like, what is up with this website? This is why I don't use this website. 990. Okay, 250. That's actually not that bad. Okay, that's not that bad. So yeah, 4 terabyte for that. It's a little bit higher than what it was, but you know, that's not that bad. Okay, so video cards. Oh boy. Oh man. This is awful. This is awful. Actually, you know what? This is not too bad. Like, okay, this Astral is absurdly expensive, but I don't know. That's yeah, 600, whatever. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Just use integrated graphics. Just use integrated graphics. just use whatever you already have. Don't get a GPU. Yeah, that was terrible. All right, the gamers. Yeah, this is all gamer stuff. Like, I don't know. What is that one case that I'm using right now? It's called Antec Performance. Yeah, this one. Okay, $130 for the gamers. Yeah, okay. So what do we have right now? Oh, we're at like $1,300. Okay, power supply. What's a good one? 1,200 watt. You gotta get a 1,200 watt for the gamers. Okay, $300 from Corsair. Where's that LEDX? LEDX 3. Yes. Very good. This is the gamer power supply. All right, so we're at like 1,400. That's not too bad unless we really have to not use integrated graphics. So I don't know, man. Micro Center has G-Skill at 500. Okay, yeah, I told you it's cooked. It's over. It's the end. You see memory at $500? Oh man, at least it's not 2021 levels of insanity. Like, does anybody here remember how much it costs to buy? Does anybody here remember the 12700K? You guys remember this? November 4th, 2021. I remember it like it was the day before yesterday. The Intel Core i7 12700K. November 2021 was the month of Alder Lake. In the year of our Lord and Savior Intel, the 12th gen launched for $420. And guess what? You want to know how much it costs to buy 64 gigabytes of DDR5 5600? Hold up. All right, we're going to try using something other than Paint. We're going to try using this instead. Let's see if I even know what I'm doing. Hold on. Oh boy, this is yeah, this is gonna take some getting used to. DDR5 launch price with 12th gen, November 4th, 2021. 64 gigabytes of DDR5 5600. You know how much this costs? You guys know how much this costs? So let's see. Let's see if RAM today is as bad as it was when it first came out, when DDR5 first launched alongside Intel's 12th gen in 2021. Guess how much it cost? How much did it cost, guys? How much did this memory cost? And this, okay, I should clarify. G-Skill Rip Jaws S5. 2x 32 gigabytes. CL 30. 1.25 volts. How much did this RAM kit cost? How much did it cost? Someone's saying 349. That's too low. 499 is too low. Those numbers are too low, man. Go up. It's higher. That's not high enough. That's not high enough. Too low. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. $799.99. This is the launch price at Micro Center, November 4th, 2021. $799. There you go. So, until this memory is back to $800, DDR5 is not as bad as it was in 2021. That's how much it costs. So this is what I'm using as my reference point when I'm watching the memory go up in price. I'm waiting to see if it's going to reach 800. I'm waiting to see if DDR5... This isn't even DDR5 6000, guys. This is DDR5 5600. DDR5 5600. Dual rank, so that's 2x32, that's 60. That is a decent capacity. $800. So if you're someone who really wanted 12th gen and you really wanted DDR5 and be the beta tester for all the BIOS bugs, and you're willing to pay the early adopter tax, well, there's your DDR5 early adopter tax. $800. Corsair Dominator is going that high. Kingston are over 700. Oh, it's getting there. It's getting there. This one's actually decent, though. This is cast latency 30, though. This is not even like some JDEC garbage. No, this is cast latency 30. So this kit had decent timings. Keep in mind, guys, this is like 2021. This is 2021. This is before DDR5 got good speeds. So keep that in mind. November, 4 years ago. 4 years ago, this is how much DDR5 cost. I'm trying to remember how much it cost when I got my 7950X, because that was a year after this. I can't remember. I think it was definitely way lower than that. It was like half of this. I think I paid like 350. I think I paid like 350 to 400. It was somewhere in that range for this same kit of memory. A year later, when Zen 4 and 13th gen launched. These were the early days of DDR5. So it basically cut in half a year later, and then the following year it was like another third of what it was the previous year. So the price of DDR5 had gone down just continuously went down from 2021 up until now. And now it's way back up. So, okay, so Kingston, okay, Trident Z5 Royal, 32 gigs is $800. Yeah, that's totally not worth it. That's not worth it. Psst. Lowest RAM size I ever bought years ago was a 60 meg. Yeah, those were the days. Those were the days when like megabytes were in the hundreds. Yeah, I mean, people are probably wondering like, okay, so right here, this memory kit in particular. So this memory kit right here, this is 2x48 DDR5 6400. So this memory kit right here. So this is one of my memory kits right here. DDR5 6400 2x48. So that's 96 gigabytes. And this is CL32 1.35 volts. G-Skill, Trident, Z5 Neo or non-Neo, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. So Trident Z5. This memory kit, you know how much this memory kit costs for like the last, I don't know, 2 years? $349. I paid $349 for this. 2.5 years ago. I know I bought it in 2023. And I remember what I paid for it, $350. So I spent $350 on this memory kit. So you guys tell me, how much is this memory kit going for now? Now. 96 gigs. Cache latency 32, 6400 at not 1.4, because 1.4 is trash. 1.35. It does this at 1.35 volts. So it runs really cold. It doesn't heat up. This is the good stuff. This is the good binning. SK Hynix. SK Hynix. Probably double. Yeah, let's go back to microcenter. I want to see what it is. Let's see here. Oh wait, you guys aren't even seeing it. Hold on, where is the thing at? Okay, so let's go find my this memory kit. So this memory kit is G-Skill. It is. Oh, I think I found it. This is it. Is this it? This looks like it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Here it is. $500. I paid $350. I paid $350 2 years ago. $350 2 years ago, and it's now $500. $500. It's going up. It's going up. We're cooked. PC DIY is gonna be cooked for a while. They're just gonna be burnt. They're gonna be on broil in an oven for like a 2 years or whatever. All right, yeah, this is it. This is the memory kit. Yeah, 1.35 Intel XMP, cache latency 32 with that 102. Yeah, that's it. This is the exact same memory kit. This is the memory kit that I hold in my palm right here. This is it. On the screen right there. Now it's $500. I could sell it for a profit. It's ridiculous. I could literally sell my memory and make money off of it. Memory that I've had for 2.5 years. That's ridiculous. I wonder if this is going to go up to $600. Man. All right, so this is one of my memory kits. Let's go find my other memory kit. So my other memory kit is the 48 gigs Oh my good. Okay, well this one's also up. Here it is. All right, this is what I call the magic memory. This is the magic memory. What I mean by that is this is the RAM that can run at 8,000 out of the box, provided you have a good motherboard that has good wire traces with low loss signal lanes. Yeah, this I can run this out of the box. Just load the XMP on my AMD Crosshair Hero from Asus or my Godlike from MSI. No problem, 100% stable. We have multiple videos on this. So you know how much I paid for this RAM? You know how much I paid for this RAM? $250. I paid $250 for this memory. It's up $100. This RAM is currently the price of what I paid for my 96 gigabyte kit. So now you're getting half the capacity for what would have been the same price. So it is up. It is not up as much as this one. This one was $350. Now it's $500. This one was $250, sometimes $220, depending on the sale price. You can get this as low as $220, $219. Micro Center would run occasional sale deals on this, so you could get it. In fact, I paid $219 for my second pair because I actually have two of these. That's how I can run 4 sticks. So yeah, I paid $219 for one and $250 for the other. Look at it now. Imagine if someone wanted 4 of these now. It would be double. Wow. Wow, it is up. This is the magic memory, too. This is the memory that just does it. This just does what it needs to do. It's 8,000. It works. It's so good. Why is it magic memory? Because it's DDR5 8000 at 1.35 volts. That means it doesn't get hot. It's easy to run stable. Low voltage. Amazon prices are even higher. Oh, man. It's exactly the same. The only difference between Royal is the heat spreader. If you like the look of the Royal, then you would get the Royal. If you don't like the look of the Royal, then you would get this. They're exactly the same. Same bin, same chips, same everything. Yeah. That's $100 upcharge. $100 upcharge. So, not a very good season, unfortunately. Even though we're going into the holiday season, not a very good time to be building a computer, unfortunately. King Bank is up on all... Wow, yeah. Yeah, GPUs are going up too, man. GPUs are going to go up. The thing about these MSRP 5090s are, like, you can't find them anywhere. They're, like, very hard to find now. Because we're starting to run out of 5090s. The 5090s are going to be in short supply again. It's weird. I feel like this year has gone in a big circle. Like, when the 5090 came out, it was impossible to buy. It was super expensive. It was way scalped. It was overpriced. Then, throughout the course of this year, it went down. The supply stabilized. The price came down. And now, guess what? Now it's hard to find again. So now, here we go. And when something is hard to get, guess what? The prices go up. So expect GPU prices to also trail upward, especially because they have GDDR7 memory, and that's going to be a problem. Basically anything that has memory in it is going to become more expensive and hard to get. So, yeah, GPUs. If you're someone who is on either RTX 40 series or if you're on AMD's RDNA 3, so like if you have a 70, like an AMD Radeon 7000 series GPU, you don't have to do anything. Don't do anything. Don't buy anything. I mean, unless you can find, well, see, I don't know. No, anyone who's on Radeon 7000 or RTX 40 should not upgrade, because 50 series is not worth it over 40 series. And AMD, like, especially if you have like a 7900 XTX, you already have a GPU that has 24 gigabytes of VRAM. So there's really like nothing that you need. There's like no upgrade right now until literally a year from now. So that's why, in my opinion, GPUs right now are kind of like whatever. Like this whole thing is kind of a skip for a lot of people, unless you're just on a really old GPU. Like if you're on an old graphics card, then I mean, I guess you could. But if you could find a decent deal, and there probably will be okay deals for GPUs this holiday season. But I think part of the reason for that is because there's probably going to be a refresh coming next year, like there always is, at least for the last generation there was. So yeah, there's a high probability that there will be a refresh series coming out in January and February. So that's the reason why, if you're someone who is disillusioned by the increase in prices of anything with memory, you might as well just like not do anything right now and just wait and see what happens. The 3090 Ti is weaker than the 5070 Ti, dude. Just FYI. 7900 XTX is, unless you're doing AI, the 5070 Ti is garbage because of the VRAM. Yeah, Mark doesn't have to do anything. Well, I mean, it kind of depends because there's like a refresh. It depends on the type of GPU that you're trying to get. Like, if you're trying to get a 5090, then you kind of want to look for one that's right around MSRP while they're available. Because I can tell you right now, there's going to be nothing that comes out as in the refresh that's going to be faster than a 5090. I can literally guarantee you that, because there is nothing else. Like there is a faster chip, but I don't think you want that, because you want to know how much that costs. Here we go. There it is, guys. This is the 5090 Ti. The 5090 Ti. RTX 5090 Ti already exists for the low price of $9,000. You can go into a Micro Center and buy a 5090 Ti literally right now. So there's nothing coming in the refresh next year that will be faster than a 5090, because there already is something that's faster than the 5090, and it is called the NVIDIA, it is the PNY NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 Blackwell. There are two variants. We covered this on Tech Thursdays like last month. Was it last month? Or maybe it was the previous month. It was like either last month or the month before. So I know we talked about Blackwell Max Q and Blackwell Workstation recently. So yeah, if you've got $9,000, then you can go buy a 5090 Ti. And oh, by the way, that's only one part. You have to still buy the rest of the computer. So yeah, there it is. That is the RTX 5090 Ti. It has two versions. It has the Max Q, which is the blower style, which is actually preferred for multi-GPU. So if you're someone who is going to buy two of these or maybe four of these, so you got to do the math and make sure like you have enough. I don't know how anybody does that, to be honest, because typically credit cards don't have that kind of limit, so you'd have to be paying cash. So what is that? Two of these is $18,000. Yeah, $18,000. You could buy a pretty good used car with that kind of money. So we're talking about a GPU here that can rival the price of an automobile. Think about that. You could get an entire car for the price of like one or two of these. So it really puts things into perspective in terms of RTX 5090 Ti. 5090 Ti. So there's two versions of that. There's that one, and then there's the other one. This is the This is the melt the connector, burn your house down version. This is the 600 watt version. So there's two versions of this card. There's this one's gonna melt your cable and burn the house down for $9,000, and then there is the Max Q, which is not gonna burn the house down, but most people who buy the Max Q buy more than one of these, just FYI. So they're spending at least $18,000, if not more, if they're buying 4 of them, because this GPU is 300 watt TDP. This is half the wattage of the other one. The other one is 600 watts per card. This one is 300 watts per card. So for $18,000, you can have 2 of these pull a total of 600 watts of electricity. That's the reason why most people who are buying 5090 Ti are actually buying Max Q, because they're buying more than one Max Q. They're buying more than one 5090 Ti. So anyway, I'm going to call it what it is. It's a 5090 Ti. That's what it is. So my point of even talking about this is to tell you guys, the people who are thinking, oh, I'm just going to wait until the Super next year because I might be able to get something faster than the 5090. If you're hoping and praying that there's going to be something that comes out in the Super series which is faster than a 5090, I'm here to set the correct expectations, because those are not proper expectations. Those are what I call unrealistic expectations, and people who have those expectations oftentimes end up disappointed, and they just kind of get frustrated with the gaming industry, the hardware PC DIY industry. They start hating on Nvidia, etc., because they themselves, the sad truth, the hard facts are that people who think that there's going to be something faster than 5090 that's going to have a super name on it that comes out like in January next year, they're going to be disappointed, because there already is something faster than the 5090. We're looking at it right here. It's $9,000. This is the reality that we live in. This is the way Nvidia has like defined the reality of their graphics business. So it's like you either accept that or you reject it. You either accept or you reject. It's like, do you agree to the terms, accept, or decline? Those are the options. There's no like, oh, I'm going to pray and hope that there's going to be like a cheaper 5090. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Newsflash, AI, man. It's all AI. So it's like, no one's buying this for gaming. They're buying this for AI. Like, let me see. Does somebody, what is this? Okay. So yeah, AI, man. It's all AI. So anyway, that is the state of the graphics cards. So let's talk about some other graphics cards. Let's filter out all these Nvidia stuff for a second. So now we have the Intel GPUs. So the Intel GPUs. So Intel has one option that is low power. I've done a video on it. We're literally using this GPU right now alongside a 7900 XTX and the Intel Arc Pro B50. Although I want to say something about this GPU. This GPU, even though it advertises Gen 5 capability, it doesn't actually handle Gen 5 properly when you use things like suspend to RAM or S3 standby, also called sleep mode on desktop. I have run into a lot of problems with this GPU waking the computer from sleep, to the point where I ended up going in the BIOS, setting it to Gen 4, and then that fixed all the problems. So Intel's got some kind of weird firmware problem that they've got to work out, or maybe they have to work with the motherboard manufacturers to update the motherboard BIOSes, because I know Nvidia had similar issues with the 40 series when the 40 series launched a few years ago. But the Arc Pro B50, the rest of Intel's line doesn't have this problem. It's only this GPU in particular, because I have tested a lot of Intel GPUs, and only the Pro B50 has this problem. And I think the reason for that is because this is the only Intel GPU currently available that runs at PCIe Gen 5. So if you have a Gen 5 motherboard and you have one, or you're thinking of getting one of these, be aware that if you start experiencing weird issues, you may have to go into the BIOS and manually set the PCIe slot to Gen 4. to quote unquote fix all the problems until Intel sorts out whatever they need to do to fix this issue. So that's kind of the problem specific to this one. But I do like the Arc Pro B50 because it is small, it is low profile, it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's easy to shove this in your desktop as a second GPU, which is what I'm doing right now. And it's $350, 16 gigs, and it is a professional GPU, which means it has ISV certified drivers. At least it's supposed to. Now, currently, I feel like Intel's installation of the drivers are no different from what they have for the gamer cards. So I really don't know what's going on. But Intel doesn't have the best track record for their graphics, at least their discrete graphics drivers, as we all know. We've been covering Intel for the past several years now. Basically, for the past 3 years, I've been using Intel GPUs, and they have gotten better. But it's weird because like, oh, they launch a new generation, and now all of a sudden there's a bunch of problems. So not the best experience for a novice user. So because of this, I don't recommend this GPU to anyone other than tech enthusiasts who are capable of troubleshooting issues related to PCIe instability and things of that nature. So otherwise, if it worked well, it would be a really good choice for most people. For like local AI inferencing for cheap 16 gigabytes with full warranty and supposedly ISV certification. So that's that one. There is also the B580, which is a larger version of the B50. So this one, 12 gigs of VRAM. So, I mean, not terrible. It's a good price. They are running a promotion right now where if you pick one you can choose one game of qualifying purchase with the Intel product. So there is that. It has the flow-through design. This GPU, honestly, is a little bit disappointing, though, because the 1080p, if you go look at the results, we can go look at some gaming results real quick from our friends at Tech Power up here. If I can find one. Let's see. The Outer Worlds performance. Just pick one. Actually, yeah, let's pick this one. Just go to performance and go to like 1080p or no, 1080p. And you guys can see the B580 at 1080p in Outer Worlds 2 is only doing like 28 FPS. So not a good look, but it also kind of says that the game itself might be a little bit too demanding when all these other similar GPUs from AMD and NVIDIA are also struggling. So if we go look at, let's see, I want to look at the Battlefield ones, if I can find the Battlefield 6. So Battlefield 6, you go to performance. Let's go look at Intel real quick. So yeah, 49 frames per second for the B50 at 1080p. So not a really good look for them. All considering, you know, it's supposed to be a 1080p graphics card. So not very good in that regard. So it's kind of struggling. But, you know, if you, for whatever reason, want to buy an Intel GPU and pair it up with an AMD CPU, that sounds really weird to say. An AMD CPU plus an Intel GPU is actually a pretty good combination for Intel right now, at least for their graphics cards. So there's that one. And then if we go to AMD, let's filter out Intel here. So AMD's best GPU right now is the Radeon AI Pro R9700. Now, do I recommend this for gaming? Absolutely not. If you're someone who wants to do AI and you don't want to buy a DGX Spark, which is $4,000, and scalpers are basically reselling those right now at ridiculous prices. And then there's also the AMD Strix Halo, which is like $2,000 for the flagship model. If you don't want to spend that kind of money and you want to put this in your own rig and you want to do AI stuff, you know, this is probably the best bang for buck because it gets you 32 gigs. It gets you 5090 levels of VRAM without the 5090 price tag. That's the way I look at it. And it's scalable, meaning it's a blower style cooler, which means you can run 2 of these, 3 of these, 4 of these. provided you have a wall outlet or dual power supplies on 2 separate breakers if you are going to actually run 4 of these. So, but think about it like there was this, and there's the RTX Pro 6000 Max Q. The difference is the RTX Pro has a lot more VRAM, but also costs $9,000. Both of them have 300 watt TDP. Both of them have a blower style design, and they're fairly loud under load because of that blower style cooler. So that's the reason why I don't recommend them for gaming. But for AI, this is an excellent choice because it's 32 gigs of VRAM. So keep that in mind. We're going to do more content with AI and featuring this GPU in the future because I'm actually very impressed with this GPU because of how scalable it is and because of the price point. I feel like $1,300 for AI, for like big AI, not little AI, I'm talking big AI, is really, really good. Otherwise, you have to spend a lot more money. You have to buy a 5090 minimum, and that's, you know, that's like $2,500 average. So, you know, you're talking like about double the price of this. So for the price of one 5090, you could buy 2 of these and get double the VRAM with scaling. So the scale up is a really good option on this. That's the reason why I really like this card right now. And then if you're someone who's looking at AMD's other options, so obviously the 700 XTX is still their fastest graphics card. Hands down, 7900 XTX is the fastest. 24 gigs of VRAM is also still a very good amount. Even in 2026, 24 gigs of VRAM is still relatively good. And then there is their current RDNA 4 flagship, which is the 9070 XT. This has 16 gigs of VRAM. The 9700 is literally a 9070 XT with twice the VRAM on a blower style cooler. Same TDP, it's 300 watt TDP. So basically the exact same GPU, same chip, same everything, just double the VRAM. So, yeah. 16 gigs though, I would say, in my opinion, 9070 XT, if you can get one for like around $700 down to $600, that would be the best deal. So like right around, yeah, like right around in here where they're like approaching 700. And I know there are some $600 options. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, like this guy here. So the Pulse, the Reaper, or no, that's the Hellhound. Yeah, see, these are sub 700. The Asus Prime. Oh, that's 7. That's not the XT though. Oh, GPU prices are going up. The Reaper was $599 for a while, and now it's $70 more. So yeah, that's a sign that GPUs are starting to become more expensive again. So yeah. And that's pretty much 1440p gaming is what I covered. Now, we didn't talk about NVIDIA other than the expensive stuff that no one buys. So let's look at the NVIDIA cards real quick. Just to round out the GPU. Where is the thing? There's like... I want to filter out the others. What did I do here? Oh, okay. So, this box thing, like, why is this here? Okay, so most popular, I guess. So for NVIDIA, it's harder to recommend because, so I would say this. In terms of NVIDIA's current GPUs, the best bang for buck is definitely the 5070 Ti. The 5070 Ti gives AMD the hardest time, like in terms of competition, because the 5070 Ti is effectively the same as a 9070 XT. They both have the same amount of VRAM. They both have the same level of performance. The one difference is multi-frame gen. So you do get multi-frame gen on the 5070 Ti. You don't get that on the AMD card. So if you're someone who really, really likes multi-frame gen, then that's going to sway you over toward NVIDIA. Otherwise, there isn't really any difference other than the 5070 Ti is typically more expensive Although I'm trying to find, I want to filter this out. Like all these expensive 5090s need to get out of here, and those useless 5080s also need to get out of here. All right, so let's just filter out on 5070 Ti. Yeah, so 5070 Ti is basically the best NVIDIA card that doesn't touch levels of questioning somebody's handling of money, you know? So, okay, so this is like 800. So is there anything that's like, okay, so 750. So, okay, see like this one right here. This is the MSRP. This is MSRP. So I'm someone who would never pay more than the MSRP for something like this. So 750 is the absolute maximum that I would pay for a 5070 Ti. I would not pay a cent more than this price point because this is the MSRP. So this one, I don't think this has any RGB though. That's the only problem with this one. So, but yeah, this is basically NVIDIA's. This is like the quote unquote best value NVIDIA GPU. The 5080 is utter garbage. And then the cards that are under this card are just kind of like they're stupidly overpriced for what they offer, if that makes any sense. So that's the reason why this is the only one that I would consider, to be honest. Like the rest of NVIDIA's lineup is kind of a joke right now. If we look at, let's look at the 5070 and see like that card, because 5070 MSRP is what? 600, I think. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it's like 600. I'm not actually sure. I can't remember because it's not a card that I recommend. But yeah, let me see. 5070 is 12 gigabytes. So that's the big problem that it has. It's 12 gigs of VRAM. I mean, yeah, it's a lot faster than Intel's B580 while offering the same amount of VRAM, but it's, you know, like, okay, so what is the price? Oh, so this can go as low as 500. So the MSRP of this must be 500? I don't know what the MSRP of this is actually. So this one at 500. Yeah, but see, the problem with this is this is just not worth recommending over AMD's card. The problem with NVIDIA GPUs, this is the problem with NVIDIA's GPUs. NVIDIA's GPUs at the ultra high end, like the 5090, they're good, but they're also stupidly expensive. Then you have the card that people shouldn't buy, but they buy anyway, and that's like the 5080, because then they'll get buyer's remorse and they'll regret their decision once the 5080 Super gets announced in a couple of weeks. So that's the reason why the 5080 is, that's why people are probably wondering, like, why does he keep saying 5080 is trash? Well, because it's trash, because the 5080 Super will actually be a good GPU, whereas 5080 will look like garbage standing right next to one. So that's the reason why I'm not recommending that, and that's why I keep on dissing the 5080, because I don't think people should be wasting money on it. I think if you really want an 80 class card from NVIDIA, you want to wait for the 5080 Super. So let's put it this way. If I was going to buy an RTX 50 series GPU, what would I do? I would wait until the 5080 Super. That's what I would do. Because that's going to be a 24 gigabyte GPU. It's going to be, MSRP is going to be around $1,200. It might even be an MSRP of $1,000, but it'll probably sell for around $1,200. So that is what I call the 80 class play if you're somebody who wants to buy that kind of GPU. So the regular 5080 is utter garbage, because if you want a graphics card that has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, the smart thing to do is to buy a 5070 Ti or a 9070 XT. Both of those GPUs are like 10% slower, but they're way cheaper, and they have the exact same VRAM as the 5080, which means the 5080 will age horribly as VRAM becomes more and more demand, as games become more and more resource intensive and gobble up more VRAM capacity when running a game, the 5080 will just lose its value because of that 16 gigabyte frame buffer. Meaning, if you're somebody who wants to buy a 16 gigabyte GPU, you shouldn't be spending more than $750 on a 16 gigabyte GPU. Anyone spending more than $750, that's MSRP of 5070 Ti, by the way, on 16 gigs of 16 gigs of VRAM. So, okay, let me rephrase that. Anyone spending, and I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but anyone spending more than $750 on a 16 gigabyte GPU, they're getting scammed. This is real talk. You're getting scammed. If you're spending more than $750 on a 16 gigabyte GPU in what is soon to be 2026, you're getting scammed because it ain't worth that. Bruh, it ain't worth that. Think about this. You could buy, like, so what is the going rate of a 5080? Let's look at that. Like 800, 900 is like under MSRP now. It might actually be some of them under MSRP. Let's see. Filter these out. Let's look at 50. Okay. So, okay, MSRP, $1,000. So MSRP at $1,000. 1050, okay? This one's under by like $20. So I'm seeing most of them are like at MSRP. There's a bunch of them that are over MSRP. Like this. Okay, this is a ripoff. This is an example of a scam. This is a scam. This is a scam. You know why? Because 16 gigs of VRAM. That's why. $1,900, 16 gigs of VRAM. I know a scam when I see one. This looks like this is legit. This is legit, like, scalper price without it being scalped. Like, that's a scam. That's a scam. You could get a Radeon AI Pro 9700 for what? $1,300. So $600 less. $600 less for double the VRAM. Double the VRAM. 32 gigs of VRAM. You know the difference? The difference between this GPU and the Radeon AI Pro in Monster Hunter Wilds with 4K resolution, 1440 upscale to 4K, with the highest resolution texture pack turned on, this card will stutter. This will be a stutter disaster because it will run out of VRAM. Whereas the 32 gig GPU will be smooth as butter. And it's like $600 cheaper. So that's the reason why this is a scam. That's a scam. So this is one of those. This is the sort of example that I wanted to bring up. So good. Thanks to Micro Center for showing it like it is. I mean, that's what a scam looks like. So when it comes to GPUs, this is the reason why the 5080 is trash. People who buy this, people who are gonna buy this, are gonna be like, they're just gonna, you know, like, I don't know how they're gonna react when the 24 gig 5080 Super gets announced in a couple of weeks leading up to CES, and it's cheaper than this, and it's 24 gigs. And I'm not dissing it, because that one's actually good. This one's actually bad. There's a difference, you know? So it's like, wow. Wow. I don't know how the people who are going to buy this are going to react when that becomes the reality. But, you know, there's the old saying, ignorance is bliss, right? So, okay. So, yeah. Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of pathetic when it comes to 5080, 5080 can't even beat 4090, guys. This can't even beat the 4090. It can't even beat the 4090. Look at this. The 4090. 4090. Okay, Battlefield 6. 4K resolution. People who are spending on expensive OLEDs and like This class, if you're spending well over $1,000 on a graphics card, you better have a 4K monitor to pair up with it. Otherwise, you're doing things wrong. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like, yeah, we've had these discussions before, but basically, 4K, overkill preset, Battlefield 6, there are only 3 graphics cards that can go above 60 FPS. The 5090, the 4090, and the 5080. However, the problem with the 5080 is, look, 61 frames per second. So that means, this is the average FPS. That means half the time it's sub 60, half the time it's above 60. So that is not a good look for the 5080. That much money, if we're talking Asus, if we're talking $1,900 for 61 FPS in Battlefield 6. That's a good use of money right there. For a couple hundred more, you could be getting 95 FPS on a 5090. So, but yeah, the 5080 is, look at it, like the 4080. The 4080 isn't even that much slower than the 5080. This is the reason why the 5080 is a joke. That much money, 16 gigs of VRAM. This is why it is garbage. It is utter garbage. So, yeah, and the people who were saying earlier that the 3090 Ti is the same as a 5070 Ti, no, it's not. The 5070 Ti is faster than the 3090 Ti. The 3090 Ti is like a 7900 XT. So I've been saying that for a long time. Or it's kind of like a 4070 Ti. Or 4070 Ti Super. Somewhere around there. That's 3090 Ti. 3090 is even slower. 3090 is like behind 5070. You know, so 3090 did not age well for games. But the 3090 did age well for AI. 3090 and 3090 Ti are still in high demand for AI. They're not in demand for gaming because the power consumption's awful. The 3090 Ti in particular is a 450 watt GPU with that stupid connector. However, the 3090 Ti isn't going to burn the cable because it has the extra circuitry to load balance across the pins more evenly because of the shunt resistors. So the 3090 Ti, the only like redeeming thing about 3090 Ti is that you don't have to worry about the stupid connector melting, and it's really good for AI because it has 24 gigs of VRAM. And the 3090 is trash because it has VRAM that's on the backside, so oftentimes the half of the VRAM on the 3090 ends up failing, so you get artifacting and then it's completely useless. So, you know, that's why 3090 is not good. 3090 Ti though is pretty impressive. Like its rival, so like it went beyond a whole generation and competed with the 7900 XT. Like, as someone who has both of these graphics cards, I see both 3090 Ti and 700 XT, even though they are of different generations, I see these two as like rival GPUs. So, yeah. So anyway, don't get scammed. The moral of the story is don't buy a 5080, otherwise you got scammed. Even if there's one at MSRP, the problem is you should be waiting for the 5080 Super, because the 5080 Super will most likely have the exact same MSRP, and it will probably sell, it'll sell on average for like $1,100, $1,200, somewhere in there. So yeah. So anyway, that's the NVIDIA GPUs. The only one that I recommend currently is the 5070 Ti, because that one has 16 gigs of VRAM and it's not stupidly overpriced like the stupid 5080. So that would be my recommendation. If I look at the lower end cards, so like the 50, how much is the 5060? The 5060, so there is a really good 5060, this one in particular from Gigabyte. I like the low profile on this. This is This is actually quite nice because it's small. Like if I was going to get a 5060, this is the one that I would buy. Because it's small. I could stick this in underneath my Radeon GPU and it's not going to cause problems because it's small. So this would be what I would get instead of getting like the Intel GPU. The problem is the Intel B50 provides double the VRAM. Double the VRAM for around the same price. And it doesn't need a PCI connector, although this probably outperforms it in a lot of things until the frame buffer is filled up. So, yeah. 9960X, that is a Threadripper PC. Threadripper, no, there are lots of reasons to go Threadripper. So Threadripper, if you're going to do AI, if you're going to build a home lab with an AI pod, Threadripper is a good way to go. Assuming you can buy or already have the GPUs. So no, Threadripper is very good. Threadripper, I mean, I end up using Threadripper more for like everything compared to any of my other PCs. So yeah, no, Threadripper is good, man. Like especially if you live near a micro center. So like if you live near micro center, check this out. So you know how all these guys lost their DDR5? Not Threadripper. RDIMM doesn't have the problem for some reason, at least not yet. So if you live near a micro center, you can still get a Threadripper bundle for $2,200. So for the price of an RTX 5090, for a 5090, you could get a Threadripper with the motherboard and 128 gigabytes of quad channel ECC memory. So yeah, if you live near a micro center, you could get a pretty good deal. So this to me is, well, okay, let me see, because this motherboard, if I was, well, yeah, this is good because you can run the dual GPU setup. Like someone with this is already basically running almost the exact same build that I'm currently running with mine. RDIMM is going up. Yeah, man, Threadripper is good. I mean, like I said earlier, every time I end up using Threadripper, I just keep using Threadripper, and it's like I barely touch the other computer, except for like the weekend and Tech Thursdays, because, I mean, think about it. Like, look at this. So, this is the 32 core with the $900 Asus motherboard, same 128 gigs, but see, like this one, you can literally run 4 graphics cards, and guess what? All 4 of them are running at full bandwidth. There's none of this lane sharing nonsense. No, it's like, no, you want to run 4 GPUs? You want all 4 of them to be at 16 lanes all the time? No compromise? You can do that with Threadripper. You can't do that with any of the regular mainstream platforms. So yeah, this is great. You want storage? You want RAID cards? You want a ton of NVMe? You want Slim SAS? Dude, this thing is awesome. Like, this is anytime I have to do something that requires like heavy lifting from a compute sense, this is my go-to. Like, I don't even bother. Godlike, all that stuff, that's all show. What is the phrase? Like, all talk and no substance. Yeah, man. All those like fancy Asus, ROG, all this stuff, MSI, Godlike, Tomahawk, whatever, all that nonsense. Nah, that's all show. All show, no substance. Threadripper is all substance. This is the reason why they call it Sage. It gets work done. WS, workstation. It does work. It works. All bark, no bite. Yeah. So yeah, man. Like, this is the thing. If I'm doing something heavy duty compute, yeah, no, this is what I get. You want SRIOV, you want GPU pass-through, you want virtualization, you want a ton of VMs, you have VDI workloads, you need enterprise class storage, ECC error corrected memory, This is the platform. So yeah, this is the heavy duty stuff right here. It's funny because it's like you got like these little mainstream things, and then you have commercial grade heavy duty. You got like 10 layer PCB minimum, 12 layer PCB, whatever. You get like it's ECC, you know, yeah. Ninety-nine fifty X is 25, 30. Yeah, you know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. There's something called memory bandwidth. Memory bandwidth, guys. Threadripper brings the memory bandwidth. Quad channel. Quad channel. Threadripper 9000 goes toe-to-toe with Strix Halo in memory bandwidth. Both of them quad channel memory. Quad channel memory. Not dual channel memory. So when I say quad channel memory, I'm not talking about 4 sticks. That's not what I mean. Do people know what quad channel is? Quad channel is not dual channel. Or no, quad channel doesn't mean 4 sticks of memory. You can run 8 sticks of memory or 4 sticks of memory in a quad channel system. It's still quad channel. Just like you can run 4 sticks of memory in a dual channel system and it's still dual channel memory. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what's an easy way for me to illustrate quad channel versus dual channel? So, quad channel. Let me see. Let me draw this. How should I draw this? No, just do, no, that's, well, man. That's not what I wanted to do. How do I make the stroke? Okay. Why is it like this, though? Oh, there we go. Okay. So now it undid everything that I wanted to do. Yeah, this is going to take some getting used to. Why does it do that? All I want to do, we may end up going back to Paint just because this is really annoying to use. All I want to do is draw a rectangle. I don't know why it's making it so hard for me to draw a rectangle. We have all these rectangles. I don't know why, but anyway, okay, let's do fill then. This is not what I wanted to do, but let's just go. Why are we, okay, yeah, time to go to Paint. Because that's failing really hard right now. Okay, quad channel memory. So you have your CPU, you have your RAM or whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Quad channel, okay, in a dual channel, the memory controller, let's just say this right here is the memory controller. So this little square in here is the memory controller. Dual channel means you have one channel addressed like this, and then you have another one that I should use a different color. So another one, we'll just use like pink, I guess. So the second channel goes like this. It addresses the other two. This is dual channel. Dual channel can be one stick or two sticks. It doesn't have to be only two sticks of memory. So if somebody populates, let's just use blue for the memory. So like if someone installs memory in B2 and A2, which is the most common setup for the gamers with DDR5, they leave the other two sticks empty, or the other two slots are empty. This is dual channel because they have one being addressed here in this part, and they have another being addressed over here on this one. Now, if someone were to have installed both sticks of memory like this, like they put two of them in, like right next to each other physically, this is called single channel. Meaning they left A1 and A2 empty, and they installed their memory in B1 and B2. This is single channel. Even though they have a dual channel CPU, they're only using one channel of the two channels available because they installed the memory wrong. See, so that is dual channel. Dual channel means there are two memory channels, and there can be motherboards that only have one DIMM per channel physically, which means they only have two slots, like the Asus ROG Crosshair Apex, for example, that only has two DIMMs physically. So when you have more memory slots, you have more electrical wires that have to interconnect from the RAM to the memory controller. And that can cause challenges when you run the RAM at high speeds, because the faster they go, the more noisy it gets, because they're like in close proximity to each other. That's the reason why you can't run 4 sticks of memory at very high speeds, in excess of 6,000, for example. And even running at 6,000 can be challenging when you have 4 sticks of memory on a dual channel platform. So that's dual channel. So if we talk about quad channel, so this is, I'm just going to illustrate Threadripper here. So Threadripper is like this, and then there's two types of motherboards. There's the one that has one DIMM per channel, which looks like this. And then there's the 2 DIMM per channel, or 1 DIMM per channel if we're talking Threadripper Pro. So typical Threadripper motherboards look like this, and they're quad channel. They're 1 DIMM per channel, 1 DPC for, or we'll say quad channel. So they have channel A, channel C, channel E, and channel G. These are the 4 channels on a Threadripper 9000 or Threadripper 7000 series. So you have channel A, channel C, channel E, and channel G. Quad channel. So instead of A, B, C, D, it's A, C, E, G. Why is it A, C, E, G? Because the other channels in between are reserved for the octa channel, aka Threadripper Pro. So you have one channel here. So basically, anytime you're installing a Threadripper system, you ideally want to run 4 sticks of memory all the time, because you want to take advantage of all 4 memory channels. There is no such thing as A1, A2, B1, B2. There is only A, C, E, G, because the letter denotes the channel name or the channel number. So this is the A channel. This is the C channel. This is the E channel and the G channel. Just like on this type of, on the regular Ryzen or Intel desktop, you have channel A and channel B. You only have two channels. The letter denotes the channel name. Not the 1, not the 2. So the whole A1, A2, B1, B2. A2 and B2 are just sub components. They're basically DIMM slots of their greater channel. So in this case, channel A or channel B. So this is a dual channel system because it has two channels, channel A and channel B. Threadripper is a quad channel because it has 4 memory channels, A, C, E, G. There's no channel B, there's no channel D. Now, if we talk about Threadripper Pro, that's where things get interesting because Threadripper Pro does have 8 channels. So a Threadripper Pro setup is going to look very similar to what we just drew. The only difference is now you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. This is known as 1 DPC octa channel, aka Threadripper Pro. This is the Threadripper Pro. So if you have a Threadripper Pro series CPU, you get access to this type of memory configuration. If you have a non-Pro, you have the quad channel setup. So the quad channel setup has been around for a very long time. Intel's HEDT platform was a quad channel system for a number of years. Now, if you go further back, Intel used to have something called triple channel memory. Then they moved to quad channel memory with Sandy Bridge E back in 2012. For those that are wondering, there's your kind of history lesson there. But you know what's an interesting thing is AMD's Ryzen AI Max, the Strix Halo, also uses quad channel memory. This is what makes Strix Halo a very, there's a lot of things that make Strix Halo a very interesting platform. We did an entire deep dive on Strix Halo on one episode of Tech Thursdays. I think it was 2 months ago now, somewhere around there. Strix Halo is it's probably the most innovative mobile platform for x86 that I have seen in the last 10 years. It's insane. So do check that out if you're interested in quad channel on a mobile platform. But yeah, so there's 8 channel, quad channel, dual channel. So these are sort of your typical deployments. And, if you step up to the server world, if we're talking like AMD EPYC in the data center, now you have 12 channel, or what is that, dodeca channel memory. So that's like 12 channel memory in the data center. So that's EPYC. So that's what I mean by there's a hierarchy. Servers are at the top, then you have workstation, then you have HEDT, which means high-end desktop, or known as true high-end. Then you have fake high-end, which is what the gamers use. So this is what I call mainstream platform. So, and laptops are the same as this. Laptops also use dual channel memory subsystems. So there's your lesson on the difference between dual channel, quad channel, and then octa channel. And then I don't really want to draw the 12 channel one because that's typically going to be like a dual socket setup. So it gets really even more fancy looking, but those are the different setups. Okay, so let's see, what did I want to do now? Okay, I guess what we can do now, speaking of RAM, I guess now we can move to the setup here. So there were people who were asking me on the previous well, I don't know if it was the previous Tech Thursdays, but I know there's people that come into the gaming streams asking about running 4 sticks of memory, in particular, dual rank, 2 DPC dual rank setups. So what do I mean by that? That means that they want to run all of these populated, and they want to run capacities. They want a 2 DPC, 2 rank, so 2R setup. So what does that mean? That means this implies that they want to run minimum of 128 gigabytes or more of system memory. So that means 4x 32 gigabytes or 4x 48 gigabytes, or now most recently 4x 64 gigabytes of system RAM. These are the sort of capacities people keep asking me about. So we're going to look at the feasibility of running that much memory on a mainstream platform. So you guys can see here. So I have the, you guys, who here can tell me what motherboard this is, first of all? Let's see who here really understands motherboards. What motherboard is this motherboard that I have here on the screen? And we have, you guys can see there's 4 sticks of G-Skill Trident Z DDR5 48 gigs each. Nova, ASRock Nova is the correct answer. This is the X870E ASRock Nova. So I guess we'll put it up here on the board. So the test system, test setup or test system is X870E ASRock Nova or Phantom Gaming Nova. I think this is like how they do their product name. With the CPU, Ryzen 7 9800X3D, and the RAM is going to be 192 gigabytes of G-Skill DDR5. Well, we'll just say DDR5 because the XMP, the Expo is completely irrelevant. So we're just going to not even say what it is. And then we're just going to say DDR5. This is SK Hynix. Yeah, I think so. 4x48 is the capacity that we're dealing with. Okay. So that's what we have right here. And I need to make sure, do I have the capture card hooked up to this thing? I think I do. Let me move this. Let me move this over to the other one. There we go. Oh, well, that's huge. So I don't know if we need it to be that big right now. So we'll make it larger. So let's go ahead and power it up. And actually, well, we won't do MemTest 86 yet. We are going to do MemTest 86, but let's go ahead and open this up or power this on. All right, there it goes. The ASRock X870E Nova. All right. All right, there's the post beep. And Okay, let's make this larger. Actually, let's make this smaller and let's make this larger. So we're in. It posted. And you guys can see. To get the keyboard. So you guys can see in here. Total memory, 122 gigabytes. AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D, 8-core, 16-thread. Nova Wi-Fi BIOS version 3.5. So this is the latest BIOS. You always want to be on the latest BIOS for multiple reasons, which we talked about previously. All right, we have right here all 4 sticks running at DDR5 6000. All right, so let's go ahead and look at how this is set up. All right, so the way I have this set up here, I have manually selected the DRAM frequency of DDR5 6000. I've left the Infinity Fabric at 2000. There's no reason to change that. This should be 6000, this should be 2000. The uClock versus the MCLK, this can be left on auto because we're not doing anything ridiculous. I mean, up to 6000, you can leave it in auto. And then here's the voltages. So VDDIO is set to 1.35 volts. Oh, you guys can't even... I probably do need to move this out of the way. I guess I'll put it up here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so VDDIO is set to 1.35. DRAM VDD is 1.35. And VDDQ is 1.35. And then the VSOC is running at the Encore OC mode enabled, 1.2 volts on VSOC. Now, this should never... Well, okay. How should I explain this part? Because the VSOC is the most controversial part of this whole thing. So VSOC ideally needs to be 1.2 volts or lower. However, some CPUs need a higher VSOC. I'll use my 9950X3D as an example. So the 9950X3D that I have, for some reason, if I want to run DDR5 6400, I need to run the VSOC on that particular CPU. I'm not saying every 9950X3D. I'm talking about my specific, my personal 9950X3D needs 1.23 or 1.22, I think 1.23 volts on the VSOC. Now, that means that it is kind of a badly binned, or I don't want to say it's a badly binned because it performs really, really well at everything, but the amount of VSOC on that specific CPU that I got, meaning my Silicon Lottery for my 9950X3D, the CPU that I have installed in the Godlike, that one requires 1.23 volts to run with 100% stability on VSOC. But I would caution, VSOC should be no higher than 1.2 volts for most people, and for people who need more, it should not exceed 1.25 volts. So let me type that out. So 1.25. Notice how it is already in red. See, 1.25 is considered red. 1.24 is also red. 1.23 is red. 1.22 is red. 1.21. So 1.2, it is not red. 1.19, and etc. So ASRock is saying, by indicating with the colors, that 1.2 is the kind of like the maximum that you want to be at, and you don't really want to push beyond 1.2 volts for the longevity of the CPU. So this whole discussion point is the reason for those CPUs that exploded. Just FYI. So if you want to be safe, you want VSOC to be around 1.2 volts. Ideally, lower is better when it comes to voltages. However, you have to also maintain stability. So those are the voltages. So like I said, 1.35, 1.35, 1.35, and then 1.2 on VSOC. This is like the most important voltage. And then we want to go to the bus configuration. And the bus configuration is where the magic happens, because these are the secret settings that allow this super amount of memory. So 192, 256, 128, this type of memory, basically 2 DPC, 2 DIMMs per channel with dual channel setups like this. Because remember, this is not a quad channel setup, this is a dual channel setup. These are the sort of memory bus, the what I call the on-die, ODT, on-die termination. These are resistance or impedance values that we are modifying manually to get this to work. So these are my manual settings for this memory capacity on this particular SK Hynix SKU from G.Skill. So that is, so now what I want to do, we're gonna plug in memtest 86. We're gonna go ahead and get out of this real quick. So we're gonna go into memtest 86 and test the stability. It should boot up automatically because there's no actual OS drive installed on this motherboard. Godlike is different. You do not want to use these settings on the Godlike. For those of you that are trying or that are struggling, so the reason why we're doing this live is I want to show people, because there's always people who come into my gaming live streams asking, or they're struggling to get a bunch of memory running stable at 6,000. So this is pretty much to address that, to show people like this is kind of how it works. Now, I do want to state that this, and I should emphasize this, these settings work for ASRock and Gigabyte. They do not work for ASUS. Do not use these values for ASUS. It will not work. And also, do not use these values for MSI. It will most likely not work. These magic memory values, these on-die bus terminations, the proc ODT value, the ODT values, these values that you saw me show on the screen moments ago, work for ASRock and Gigabyte. They do not work for ASUS, and they might work for MSI, but it's very board specific. So keep that in mind. Those designs do have flaws. They're not good designs. We talked about that a long time ago, but yeah, no, do not get those. Those are not good. There's a lot of reasons why they're not good. First of all, they use ribbon cables, so you cannot use them with riser cables. Number two, they run really loud and really hot compared to AIB because they're too thin, they're too small, especially on the 5090, to cool that 600 watt sort of TDP. So that's the reason why they're not good. And also the connector on them, the power connector, the controversial connector that melts, that thing is also turned at a 90-degree angle with the solder wire bridge to the circuit board with varying lengths of wire. And that is also a huge red flag because the wires that are further, the pins that are further away from the PCB run longer wire traces, which means they're going to have slightly more electrical resistance than the ones that are like closer to the circuit board, which means you're probably going to melt or you're probably going to overdrive current through the shorter pins versus the longer pins. So that's the reason why the 5090 Founders Edition in particular is not a good GPU at all. Because of the power, because of the size, no. Not good. Okay, so anyway, we're just gonna let this run in the background now. Let me see. Let me move this over here, or I guess I'll put this back down here, and I'll move this back up here, or something. I don't know. Like, we gotta get this kind of out of the way, or maybe I just will have to remember not to use that corner. But anyway, guys, that is I mean, that's pretty much all I had to talk about. So this might be probably one of the shortest episodes of Tech Thursdays, now that I think about it. There's literally nothing here except to sit here and watch this memory run in Memtest 86. Like, that's, I guess I'll just put it, like, right here. I don't know. Have I gotten 4 sticks to work? No, I have not. And that's why, so guys, listen. There's a reason why there's no video on my channel that shows you an Asus motherboard with a lot of memory like this running. Because it doesn't work. Now, there are kits that Asus has worked with G-Skill on specifically. There is like one new kit from G-Skill. It's a 256 gigabyte memory kit that Asus, and I think MSI also worked with them on the Godlike. But they worked specifically to get those memory kits working. So, yeah, the reason why you're not going to find a video on this channel for Asus motherboards is because this kit of memory, like literally this kit of memory, which is the memory that this is the memory kit. This memory kit right here, these 4 sticks are the same memory kits that I use in literally every single one of my videos talking about 192 gigabytes of RAM. It's the same exact kit of memory. It's 2 separate kits. This doesn't work with Asus. And it does work with MSI, but only on like the stupidly expensive Godlike, because the Godlike has 10 layer PCB. That's the only reason why. And the Godlike settings are different. They're slightly different from what I use for ASRock and Gigabyte. No, I'm running the same memory that we were talking about. It's the same exact memory kit that I always talk about, guys. I don't have like infinite memory. Like, what you see is, that's it. This is what I've got. That's it. I don't have any other memory. Like, this is it. And you guys can see, let me bring this back up. I guess we'll just put this on the screen for the rest of this time here. Yeah, I'll just leave that up. You guys can see we're running, there's no mouse on here. So we're running like 46 degrees Celsius on the RAM. This is a case, it's in a case, but there's no side panel. I took the side panel off so I can get in and press the power button. Actually, now that I think about it, there's no reason for me to press the power button because it's in a case and there's a physical power button on the case. So that was kind of dumb. But anyway. But yeah, that's it. And you guys can see, 0 errors. So, because there's all these people that keep on asking, like, hey, I need help. I can't get this memory working. And it's like, I tell them, you know, like, and I didn't even clear CMOS, guys. All I did was take out the old kit of memory, which was the Orico 32 gig kit. Put these 4 sticks in here. Turn it on. Now, it failed because it wasn't going to run with the Orico timings. So then it like reset, went to 3600. Then I did what we showed earlier. I plugged in those numbers, and here we go. You have to change the boot order. You got to put it so that your USB drive is the first device for it to boot from. You got to go into the BIOS and do the boot order. But yeah, you guys can see, this is basically how to do memory overclocking. And this is a massive overclock. This is a huge overclock right now. This is like, this to me, and to probably a lot of people that are struggling to get this working, like, this is more impressive than trying to run DDR5, like 2 sticks at DDR5 8000. Like, this is way more impressive, because this is way harder to do, first of all. So the thing to note is, and now I just forgot what I was going to say. So, man, what was I going to, there was something I wanted to state here. I guess I can move this keyboard out of the way because I don't need this one while that's running. But basically, man, I forgot what I was going to say. So oh yeah. Now I remember what I was going to say. DDR5. So if you're doing 2 DPC, 2 rank, or 2 DPC, single rank, max supported speed, maximum official supported speed, and the people who watch my channel already know what I'm about to say, is DDR5 what? What's the maximum supported speed for these memory configurations? What is the official maximum speed for a 2 DPC dual rank or a 2 DPC single rank? Maximum supported speed for both AMD and Intel. Both, because it's the same number. Madison got it, 3600. That is the maximum speed. That is the maximum supported speed. Anything above this is considered overclocking and is not supported. And if you try to open a case with, let's say you open a case with AMD, and they're going to ask you, what are you trying to do? And you tell them, oh, I got 192 gigs of RAM, and I can't get it to run at 6,000. You know what AMD's support rep is going to tell you? Unsupported config, get lost, close the case. You go to Intel, you buy an Intel Core, whatever, and then same thing, you go to Intel. Intel's even worse, man. Oh boy, Intel's even worse. Good luck trying to get Intel working at this type of speed with that much RAM. So you go to Intel, and it's like, hey, I got the brand new Intel Core Ultra 7 265K Micro Center bundle special deal, Black Friday, whatever. And I'm trying to run 192 gigs of RAM, and it's not running at 5200 or 5600. You know what Intel's going to tell you? Intel's going to tell you, get lost. Close the case. Get lost. Unsupported config. Unsupported config. Close the case. Goodbye. Go away. Shoo. Go away. Thank you for buying our processor, though. Go away. Bye. That's what they'll tell you. So you go to ASRock, or you go to Asus, or you go to whoever your motherboard manufacturer is, and you're like, hey, Asus, hey, ASRock, or whoever, MSI, hey, I got your memory kit, or no, I got like a G-Skill memory kit because some guy on YouTube told me to get it or whatever, and, you know, I can't get it to work above like 4800 or 3600, whatever. You know what MSI or whoever your motherboard manufacturer is going to tell you? They're going to point this out to you. They're going to be like, the official, even though here's the irony of the whole thing. Let's bring up a motherboard real quick. Let's just bring up some random motherboard. Let's just do the ASRock one, Nova. ASRock Nova, because this is the one that we're using right now. So okay, so let's bring this up. Yeah, ASRock Nova. Where is it? That's not it. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay. So the ASRock Nova. You're like, hey, ASRock support, I can't get my memory to run at like 6,000. And they're going to be like, how much memory? It's just 192 gigs. I mean, it's nothing special. And they're going to be like, oh, So even though their website says supports DDR5 ECC or non-ECC up to 8200, there is a big red asterisk here. Maximum capacity of system memory 256 gigs RAM, supports XMP or Expo, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter, they're the same thing. So they're gonna be like, yeah, that's not supported. You have to run at 3600, pal. And then they're going to close the case. All of them will do that. All of them will do that, even though they say they put this number up here. Because the thing is, here's the what is this? The unwritten rule or whatever. Like, this right here doesn't mean 192 gigs at 8200. Like, there's an asterisk here. I don't even know exactly what the asterisk means because they have like a whole bunch of asterisks that are also like, I don't know what that means, but basically they're going to tell you that the maximum supported speed for what you're trying to do is 3600, and they're going to proceed to close the case. So meaning it's considered an overclock. Anything beyond 3600 for this sort of capacity is considered an overclock and is not officially supported. So it is a buyer beware. You're on your own. Like, you got to get it to work and no one's going to help you, and that's how it is. That's the reality of running that kind of memory configuration. So you think about what I'm doing here. I'm running DDR5 6000. So that means, this implies that the MCLK is 1800 megahertz. 1800 megahertz. But DDR5, well, let's just leave it like this. DDR5 6000 implies MCLK equals a whopping 3 gigahertz. That is a massive overclock. That is a huge overclock over the maximum supported speed. So think about that. That is a 1.2 gigahertz overclock on the DDR5. That is a huge overclock. No one is going to help you if you can't get this working, because they're going to be like, man, the dude is trying to do a over 1 gigahertz overclock on his memory, and he's saying that it's not working. I mean, the guy doesn't know what he's doing, man. Like, it's that's what the support person is going to be thinking. They're not going to tell you that to your face, but they're going to be like thinking that in their mind. Like, the guy's trying to overclock his RAM by over 1 gigahertz, and he's complaining that he can't get it working. I mean, that would be like somebody trying to overclock their like 9700X to like 6 gigahertz or whatever, and then complaining that they're having trouble and they need help, you know, like that's what that looks like. No one's going to help with that. Like, no one is officially going to support, no vendor is going to officially support that, because that's an overclock. I mean, that's not guaranteed. None of this is guaranteed, meaning any number greater than this is not guaranteed. It is an overclock. And your mileage may vary. It's going to come down to the memory quality, the motherboard quality, the memory controller on the CPU quality. That is the reality of how overclocking works. So anyone who is familiar with overclocking, you know, I'm basically preaching to the choir at this point, but that is the reality of trying to get this type of memory running at that kind of speed. Two sticks is different. So 2 sticks is different. If we want to talk about 2 sticks, so this is the example for 1 or 4 sticks. So if we're doing 2 sticks, 2 sticks means 1 DPC, and it can mean either single rank or dual rank. Now, I believe the official support is the same on AMD. It is different on Intel. Intel speeds drop really quickly for the official support, but maximum official supported speed is what? For this configuration is DDR5, what? Who here knows? I should specify for Zen 5. For Zen 5, meaning Ryzen 9000, not Ryzen 7000, because there is a difference. In this example, it's the same for both. When you have 4 sticks, it's the same for both, meaning Ryzen 7000 and Ryzen 9000 both have a maximum supported speed of 3600. But when you do 2 sticks, which is this, it's a different number. It is 5600. So 5600 is the official supported speed. So Alex got that correct. For Ryzen 9000. But what Mark stated, 5200 is the maximum supported speed for Zen 4 for Ryzen 7000. This is for Ryzen 9000. So there have been some improvements, even though the I/O die on Zen 4 and Zen 5 is using the exact same node. There are slight differences. There are improvements to the memory controller on Zen 5. This is the reason why the official speed on 9000 is faster than the official speed on 7000. So if you're someone who's running a 7800X3D and you open up a case with, whoever, and you're like, hey, I can't get my 2 sticks of memory working at 6000, even though that's pretty easy and it should work for like 98% of all CPUs. If you open up a case with whoever and you're like, hey, I can't get my 7800X3D Zen 4 running at DDR5 6000 or 6400 or whatever, they're going to close the case on you because they're going to be like, that's not guaranteed. The maximum supported number on your CPU is 5200 for 2 sticks of RAM. And if you have a 9800X3D, same deal. They're going to tell you 5600 is the maximum supported speed, and they're going to proceed to close the case. Oh, my memory is erroring. And you know why? I can tell why. Because it's running really hot. I noticed the heat in the room. So let me show you why that's happening. Actually, you can see it on the screen. I want to bring this back up. Yeah, it's generating errors. It's running too hot. So right here, look at the temperature, guys. 57 degrees Celsius. So I need to do a couple things here. I need either active cooling on my RAM to bring the temperature below 55 degrees Celsius, or I need to change the proc ODT value again. But that's the reason why we're erroring. We're erroring because we're running too hot, 57 degrees Celsius. So typically, especially when you're trying to overclock and you have 4 sticks, keep in mind 4 sticks makes it harder to cool passively. I don't have airflow over here. It's physically open. I can go here and I can touch the AIO. So you guys can see that's a problem. There's no air directed over my RAM. As a result, it's running at 50, what is it at? 57 Celsius. And it should be okay in burst workloads, but extended workloads like memtest or Y-Cruncher or things like that, or Intel burn test, or OCCT, these things are going to cause it to air out eventually because of the temperature problem. And remember, 4 sticks of memory like this, they're right next to each other. There's no gap. So the heat spreads out across all 4 of them, and it becomes even harder to cool. So that's the reason why we're running errors, most likely. So, yeah. With better cooling, this will most likely work. But anyway, that shows you guys, in general, what you need to be aware of. So I need to have actual cooling over this and bring the temperatures down, because we were not erroring out until it got over 55 degrees Celsius. And see, now it's going up to 58 degrees Celsius. It's going to keep creeping up. Eventually, it'll get to up to like 66 Celsius without any active cooling. So that's the problem. So that's a good catch on that, because I wanted to explain how you can tell if your memory is failing because of temperature or failing due to just straight up the settings are bad. So you guys saw when the RAM was like 40 degrees, 46 degrees, up to like 53 degrees, we were error free. Then it hit 55. Right after it went over 55, we started getting errors. So that's the reason why it's temperature limited right now. All right, so let's go ahead and shut this down, or let me, because this is just going to keep on climbing in terms of temperature. And I can feel the heat, man. I can feel it. Yeah, it's running hot. That burns. So yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and end the test. Incomplete. Okay. Press any key. Yeah, whatever. And then let's get out of this. Let's go here. And we will... Do I want to restart? But that's the thing. You need it to run. You need it to pass memtest 86. And the reason why I like memtest 86, so if it can pass memtest 86, you're pretty much good to go into your operating system. And then if you want to do, some other memory test from within the operating system, you can totally do that. What I tend to do is I try to load up a single player game and for 10 minutes or so and see if that works. But it should not be failing memtest 86, so keep that in mind. So in this scenario, we are temperature limited, unfortunately, for what we're trying to do. But I want to show people here, for those that didn't catch this earlier. So we're not using the profile. We're not using XMP. We're not using any of this stuff. What we're doing is we're manually specifying DDR5 6000, 2 gigahertz on the fabric clock, 1.35, 1.35, 1.35. This is the reason why I like 1.35, because it's not insanely high voltage, and it's within the realm of possibility when it comes to cooling your memory. If you run RAM that needs 1.4 volts or 1.45 volts or 1.43 volts, that memory, just forget about trying to run 4 sticks of memory if you're having to run voltages that high, because it's gonna error instantly because it's gonna run too hot. That's the problem. Even at 1.35 in memtest 86, you guys saw we were approaching 60 degrees Celsius, so that was kind of a problem. And this is not even an insane voltage for that. But the main thing I wanted to draw your attention to is the bus control configuration. These are the settings that you have to play around with if you want this kind of memory setup to work. Now, the easiest thing to do is, if you truly want a lot of memory, typically that means 128 gigabytes or 256 gigabytes, or what I'm doing, the rare 192 gigabytes. You need to buy 2 of the same kit, or ideally you need to buy a memory kit that is on the QVL list that literally comes with 4 sticks of memory to start. Those are my recommendations if you need that much RAM. The other thing that I'll tell you is, if you want it to be easier to configure, it's easier to probably not even do 6000, to be honest, and try for 5600. Try for 5600. Even though this is still considered an overclock, 5600 is the upper bound limit for 2 sticks of memory on official support for a Zen 5 CPU. So I feel like 5600 is a more realistic expectation. The other reason why 5600 is good is because that allows you to drop your voltage to 1.25 volts, which is going to be even easier on the temperatures. So it's easier to maintain temperatures under full load. But the only problem with doing this is when you do this, then you have to recalibrate your impedance values, which means you have to go and change these back to auto and then try. It's going to be a bunch of trial and error with different. I mean, you can keep the same numbers. You can keep these numbers. These numbers are typically used for DDR5 6000 with this much RAM on an ASRock or Gigabyte motherboard. But I would say this is a good starting point, but you may have to tweak these if you're trying to either back the memory down from 6000, or if you're someone who is starting lower, like let's say you're doing like 4800 and you're working your way up, you're going to like 5200 and then 5600, then again you're going to have to adjust the bus control configuration because these numbers are not really meant to go with those lower frequencies. So typically what I would suggest trying is a different proct ODT, so this one. And you guys understand the difference between higher numbers versus lower numbers. We've explained this in many, many videos already, so I don't know if I need to explain that again. But in general, the higher the number, the hotter the RAM will run. So if you're trying to do like 80 ohms, man, your RAM temperatures are going to go up. They're going to get real hot. Like it's going to hit 65 Celsius and run errors real fast. Likewise, if you go real low, if you start lowering the impedance way down, like sub 34 ohms, like 30 ohms, 26 ohms, like if you start going way down here, guess what? You're going to run into a problem called signal reflections. And signal reflections are going to cause errors. It's going to cause blue screen of death. It's going to cause memory. It's going to cause application corruption, file corruption. Very, very bad things happen if you run the impedance too low and you get signal reflections causing instability. So that's the reason why it is a balancing act. You can't go too high because you'll cook your RAM. It'll burn out. And you can't go too low because you'll cause errors and instability. So it is truly a balancing act when it comes to trying to get like a huge amount of RAM, like 256 gigs or 192 gigs or even 128 gigs. Trying to get that to work, it's not plug and play, unfortunately. And that's because we're dealing with high frequency signals traveling across a motherboard at a high speed. And I mean, let me just show it right here physically on the motherboard. You guys can see we're dealing with running high speed RAM from the memory controller. The signal's coming from the memory controller, going across that PCB into these memory sticks, and then back out of the memory sticks, back in across that thing. That high speed like transfer that's going real fast, 5.6 or 6,000 mega transfers. You know, like it's going so fast. The faster it's going, the more prone it is to errors. The more amplified the noise gets. So it's truly a balancing act. So you have to have proper expectations. That is the reason why when you run 4 sticks of RAM, the official support is 3600. Because at that slower speed, it is much easier to manage the signals traversing over the bus. Versus when they're trying to go at like 6,000. You know what I'm saying? It's literally a physics problem at that point. It's electronic devices physics. It's semiconductor physics. That's all it is. But a lot of the gamers don't understand that. It's like, why can't it go fast? Oh, why can't it go fast? You know, like, well, you're not really thinking about how it works in the real world. Okay, so hopefully that sheds some light on the whole, like, oh, DDR5, like, what do I need to do if I want to run 4 sticks? Now, single rank is plug and play, guys. If you just want 4 sticks like this, if you just want it to look, if you just want 4 sticks of RAM just because you like the way it looks, cap at 96 gigs. Get 4 24 gigabyte sticks. That gives you a total maximum of 96 gigabytes For most people, that's a ton of memory. You're not going to have any problems. You can literally load your Expo profile, and it's just going to work. It'll work. Make sure you install the RAM correctly, though, which means one kit goes on channel A, and the second kit goes on channel B. Unless you buy a kit that comes with 4 sticks. Okay, so anyway. Hopefully that gives you guys an idea. And keep in mind the temperatures. The temperatures. How hot is your memory running? Sometimes your settings are fine. Sometimes you got the correct impedance values. You have good voltage values. The memory speed's not some stupid number that's like 8,000 or whatever. Some unrealistic number, for example. So sometimes all your numbers are fine. It's just you're running into thermal limitations like I am. Personally, what we're running into here is thermal limitations. You saw it creep up over almost 60 degrees Celsius, and we're running errors. Now, the only other YouTube channel that talks about this is Level 1 Techs. If you don't believe me, go watch Level 1 Techs. Wendell has done a lot of deep dive discussions on DDR5 and how sensitive it is to memory temperatures. So memory temperatures also cause errors. The hotter it runs, the more likely it's going to flip a bit register incorrectly, and that'll be an error. And that's the errors that we were seeing in memtest 86. So you have to remember, you got to keep the temperatures low while also maintaining, realistic values if you're setting this up manually. So that is the key on how to get this working. But in terms of like getting into the BIOS, like, because people were telling me, man, I can't even get into the BIOS. I try to boot up to like 5200. I can't even get into the BIOS. See, those problems, that to me sounds like the memory is not installed correctly. Meaning the sticks from, say, this kit is installed over 2 channels. That is incorrect when you run 4 sticks. Both of these sticks physically need to be on channel A, which means they need to physically be right next to each other. So that's another thing that I see a lot of people doing wrong, even though I have explained that literally in every single video that I've made on the subject of 4 sticks of DDR5. So, I mean, I don't have any problem at all getting into the BIOS. The problem that I run into in this particular scenario is cooling. We're thermal throttling and causing errors because of the temperature. So a lot of these new motherboards, so let's just bring up some motherboards here. So in fact, I think, was there a, I think the Taichi OCF and maybe, I know the Apex and the Extreme from Asus and the Gigabyte X870 Aorus Extreme AI Top, and even I think the Master. I think these motherboards all, well, they're not showing, they don't show it in here. I thought they do. But so this guy, the Apex, includes a RAM cooler. It has this little fan that attaches to the Gen 5 SSD as active cooling for the RAM. So it puts this in here for that reason. Now, this is a 2 DIMM motherboard, so the reason why this is here is for memory running above 8,000. Now, there's another motherboard that they have. I thought Gigabyte, I think, has it, but they don't show it in the picture. Maybe they have it like somewhere else, but I know Gigabyte has it also. The Extreme from Asus. This one's 4 DIMM, and it also comes with a memory cooler in the box. Yeah, so it comes with a fan. and 2 different brackets. You can mount it above or below. So it's nice to see this. I'm hoping that next generation, more affordable motherboards, we'll say. I hope there's more affordable motherboards next generation that include RAM cooling, because memory is starting to run so fast now that it kind of needs active cooling when you think about it. I mean, you're talking, like, if you're running your RAM at DDR5 8000, for example, you do realize you're running your RAM at 4 gigahertz. 4 gigahertz on something that's passively cooled? Think about that for a second. So that's the reason why, yeah, it'll be nice to see fans included with some of these motherboards next time around. It's nice to see they're starting to do it on the high-end boards. And this is a good thing to see, because sometimes, like, these new features, like active cooling for memory or whatever, sometimes these things trickle down eventually into more mainstream price points in future products. Did you see the Chinese preview of the... Oh yeah, that motherboard, someone... Well, the X3D Aorus Master is very good. Well, it's mostly good. There's something still that I don't like about it, but it's a lot better than the previous one. It's a tiny little fan. What are we talking about? The Gigabyte one is the same as this Asus one. This Asus one's a little fan. It's a little fan right here. Gigabyte's the same deal. Would RAM heatsink help? Probably not, because you're already running, like, okay, look at this. I already have heat spreaders on my memory. Let me zoom in more, I guess. I mean, you guys can see, well, that's covering up me, but you guys can see right here, physically, I already have heat spreaders on the memory, and it still gets up to like 60 degrees Celsius. So there's a couple of things I have to do. I either have to lower the voltage to like 1.3, and then I have to loosen the timings and loosen like everything essentially, and then I would have to adjust my termination values to something different or whatever. Like I'd have to do a lot of manual tuning to get it to run air-free without active cooling. Now the easy answer is throw active cooling on it. Put a big fan or put some kind of fan directing airflow directly on the memory, and that will solve the problem. And this is one of the reasons why I like air cooling so much, because notice this. With this setup, we have no, like, other than the front intake, there's no air going across the RAM. When you have a giant Noctua or a thermal take or whatever, like you have, or thermal right, whatever, you have a giant air heat sink on your CPU. The nice thing about this that no one ever really talks about is the fact that the fans on your big giant heatsink for an air cooler gives you auxiliary airflow over your RAM, whether you know it or not. So when you run an AIO, this is why I'm not a huge fan of AIOs. AIOs create a lot of dead spots. See, like right around here, there's very little airflow, and we're running 4 sticks of memory, each at 1.35 volts, so they're all heating up under load with the MEMTEST 86 running, and that's going to cause the temperature to heat up. They're going to thermal throttle. They're going to cause airs. That kind of thing's going to happen, and that's what's happening here. With an air cooler, it would take longer, or it would actually solve the problem. But really, what I would have to do is put some kind of active cooling on this, either like kind of like what Gigabyte and Asus are shipping with their higher-end motherboards, or have to do some jerry-rig mod, kind of like what Buildzoid does with him. He has like a big motherboard standoff. I actually think what Buildzoid did is very good. That would also solve the problem. So those are the sort of things to be aware of when you're trying to do high dense 4 sticks dual rank DDR5 RAM at like a high speed, like 5600 or 6000, for example. So anyway, hopefully that helps people that were struggling with what do I need to do? Why can't I get my RAM to do what it needs to do? So those are things to be aware of, like like how hot is the memory running when you're doing a stress test? What are your voltages? What are your bus termination values? You know, that kind of stuff. Besides, what cache latency, and don't use Expo or don't use XMP. And if you're using those things, you need to turn them off because that's also not going to work. So there's stuff like that. There's a lot of things. You just have a fan literally sitting on the GPU blowing air at the RAM. But how will that, if it's sitting on the GPU, how is it getting air? Wouldn't it just be pushing the hot air off of the backplate onto the, it's like, I don't know. Is that I mean, if it's working, it's working. But this is why I'm not a huge fan of AIOs. AIOs, the pumps make more noise. You have dead spots. There's less airflow in the areas that matter. You know, like there's just things about that that are like, Crosshair Extreme Fan goes under memory or under VRM. Why would he need to go under the VRM? Why would it need to go under the VRM? The VRM doesn't need any. That sounds so dumb. Like if that's really what the fan's for, then Asus that's like such a hard fail right there. Because why would this need like an active fan on the VRM? The Ryzen CPU doesn't pull enough power to cause the VRMs to have a problem. Like what? That doesn't make any sense. No, you can probably still like retrofit this somehow with this bracket or something up here and get it to force air down onto the memory somehow. I don't know. Like, if that's not for the RAM, then Asus, that's a fail. That's a fail, man. Yeah, but the one on the Apex is definitely for the RAM. But the Apex is a 2-DIMM board, so it kind of defeats the purpose, right? I mean, it's like, it's cool if you're trying to run like DDR5 8400 or something, but I don't know. Anyway. All right, guys, I think that pretty much covers it. Oh yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing that the 4-stick motherboards need, though. See how they did that? Asus is doing something really good here. They've got something really good going on here with the way that fan goes on the Apex. Wow, man, if that could go on a 4-DIMM board, that would be really nice for bringing the temperature down. That would keep the temperatures sub 50 degrees. Now, the question is, would that fan be really loud? Because it's kind of small, so it probably, I don't know. Yeah. There aren't any RAM deals right now. That was the whole first half of the live stream. Can you explain why the OC motherboards only have 2 DIMMs, but the other motherboards that can? So because 2 DIMMs, because a 1 DPC board is easier to get high memory speeds because there's less crosstalk and there's less interference. That's the reason why. Okay. 80 millimeter fan in a 3D printed bracket can do the job. All right. Well, that's trying to see were there any other. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, guys. Like the Apex, man, the Apex. Honestly, this is such a really nice motherboard, except it's 2 DIMMs. But I understand why it's 2 DIMMs. It's because they're trying to run. This is for people who want to run memory way above 8,000, like 8,400, for example. Okay, so I guess for this weekend, I don't know what. So we did the Monster Hunter thing. There's like, you know what we didn't do? I realized this on Monday. I realized that we didn't actually stream the Halloween games like I wanted to. I'm trying to remember, like, oh, I know why. It's because I ended up building that AI PC. That's why. I was like, do I want to stream games or do I want to build this AI PC? And I kept getting OCD about the AI PC. I was like, I got to put this thing together. So I figured I'm just going to build the computer and it's like, whatever. We'll just play the game some other time. So I don't know what I'm going to do because now it's like Halloween obviously is gone and past. So like, what's the point of going and playing those type of games now? It's kind of out of season. So I don't know what I'll do. I will either stream. So it will be the last weekend of the Monster Hunter Festival. And then after that, there'll be no more Monster Hunter on stream for a while. Battlefield 6 isn't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. Oh, the Evo X2. I wasn't planning on it. I could. Did we do a stream with Strix Halo? I thought I did. I know I did Strix Point with a Thunderbolt dock. But did I? You guys tell me, did I ever stream with the Evo X2? I thought I did. Oh, you know what? Okay, we didn't do a gaming stream. Did we do a gaming stream? I know we hosted 2 or 3 episodes of Tech Thursdays using Strix Halo, using the Evo X2. But I don't know if I actually did a gaming stream with it. Maybe I'll do that then. I thought I did. I know I did 2. I know I did episodes of Tech Thursdays feature, like literally using the Strix Halo. I can't remember if I did a gaming stream. I know I did Strix Point. I live streamed using Strix Point with a 7900 XTX connected in an eGPU over USB 4. So that I know I did. I just can't remember if I streamed using the Evo X2. The funny thing is the Evo X2 can also connect an eGPU. But I don't know if I wouldn't do that. I would not do that because then that defeats the purpose of showcasing like how powerful the integrated graphics are. So that would be kind of like, you know, why do that when you want to actually evaluate the integrated graphics? So why do TU stream double what? What's Double Dragon? I don't even know what that is. You know what I keep getting recommendations on? I keep getting these recommendations from like these gaming media outlets that got to preview a game called Where Winds Meet. Does anybody know what that's about? This game called Where Winds Meet? Is that good? Is that out yet? When is that out? Is anyone here even gonna play that? Like, I'm looking at it now. Oh, it comes out. It's planned to release November 14th. That's literally, what, next week? That's next Friday. Is that good? Does anybody know if that's gonna be good? Where Winds Meet? I've already been very disappointed with some of the games that have come out from the Chinese developers this year, unlike the ones that came out last year. Last year's Black Myth Wukong was amazing. This year's Lost Souls Aside was not good. I mean, it was okay, but it was like, no. And Wu Chang was also kind of like, man, this is like too much. That game felt like it was a been there, done that sort of game, like way almost to a T. It's just like I just lost interest in it. But this Where Winds Meet, I kind of want to see a different kind of game. I'm getting tired of like all these Souls-like games that are coming out. Ninja Gaiden 4 was a little underwhelming. It was still a good game, but now that it's been a couple of weeks since I finished Ninja Gaiden 4, when I think back about Ninja Gaiden 4 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, those are the two Ninja Gaiden. Well, there's also Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which I didn't play. And a lot of people have said that that is a very, very good game. That is like more like a 2D side scroller. But Ninja Gaiden 2 Black actually is better than Ninja Gaiden 4. Itagaki's games are, even though Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was based off of Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, man, Itagaki, the guy passed away this year, which is very unfortunate. It's very sad that he passed away like right as Ninja Gaiden 4 was releasing to the public. And man, his games from that genre are genre defining of that era. And the more I think about it, the more I realize, man, yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is actually better than Ninja Gaiden 4. I mean, it depends on what you like. If you like Platinum Games' silky smooth, like almost too buttery smooth comboing, then you might enjoy Ninja Gaiden 4 more. But if you like the more grounded but still extremely fast combat and extremely punishing gameplay of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, Ninja Gaiden 2 is actually the better game. And that game came out back in January. Unreal Engine 5. January. And then I waited all the way until October for Ninja Gaiden 4 just to be slightly underwhelmed after completing the game. So, man. But yeah, there's a lot of people talking about this Where Winds Meet. So you're planning on playing it? MSI Godlike, I don't have any problems with it anymore. As far as like that issue, no. Ever since the RMA, I don't have the problem anymore. Alright, guys. Well, I think Tarkov 1.0. What is that? Tarkov? Like, the one game that I might... I honestly, like, there's no reason for me to get any of these games for the rest of the year. I mean, I kind of said earlier this year, or I said a few weeks ago, that Ninja Gaiden 4 was the last game on my list of games that I wanted to play this year. So as far as I'm concerned, there are no games. Maybe that Metroid Prime game on Switch 2, but I'm not 100% certain I'm going to get that game. So at this point, all my games are slated for next year. So I'm pretty much done. Which means I can either go back and try to finish games that I never finished, that came out earlier this year, or I can play games that I didn't finish from last year. I mean, there's, like, I don't know. GTA 6 isn't even on my list, man. Like, that's not even a game that I even care about. Like, I don't even care about the franchise, to be honest. Like, no, my games, so right now, my games for next year, man, what the, oh, that again? Okay, my games for next year are, I guess we can get this out of the way. Let's get this out of here. I don't need this anymore. I don't need that. I don't need this. Okay, these are my games these are the games that I'm looking forward to for next year. So, Neo 3. Resident Evil Requiem. Fatal Frame Crimson Butterfly Remake. I guess I'll need more space. We put this over here. These are all games that are coming out in like the Q1 of next year. So it's literally from January through March. So Neo 3, Resident Evil, Fatal Frame. There was another game that I'm struggling to remember what it was. Is it a Capcom game? It's a Capcom game? Oh yeah. Onimusha. Onimusha. I don't know when that's coming out. And there was another game too, but I can't remember what it is right now. So these are the two Tecmo. This is the Capcom one. Wait, hold on. So those are the Koei Tecmos. These are the Capcoms. And there was like another one though, but I can't remember what it was. Neo, this thing, oh. The Dusk Bloods? I can't remember, like, what was the name of that game? Like, what was that From Software game? The Dusk Bloods? Yeah, this is like Switch 2. So it's gonna be like the Switch 2 game for next year. Man, there's like another game that I can't remember, though. I don't understand why I can't remember it. No, not Gears of War. Who was making that game? I can't remember what it is right now. Was it a Square? Oh, was it the Dragon Quest game? No, it wasn't Dragon Quest. Oh, yeah. It's literally January. It's like the first game on the list, actually. Trails Beyond the Horizon. Trails Beyond the Horizon. Resident Evil, I mean, that's it, right? Like, so these are the games right now. So these are the games that I'm looking forward to next year. There are a few other ones like that. There's other ones. So let's think about this. Lords of the Fallen 2. I don't know if this is coming out next year. I don't think it's coming out next year, but it could come out next year. And if it is, it's like the end of next year. It'll be like Q4. It'll be like October or something at the earliest. So this is like maybe... Does anybody know if Crimson Desert is also an interesting one? I don't know if I'm going to get that game, though. Maybe. Final Fantasy 14 next expansion, like whatever the next expansion is. Final Fantasy 14 next. If that comes out next year, it would be toward the end of next year, because they're going to do the 0.4 patch is like December, and then they're doing the 0.5 would be like sometime in Q2. And then they would have, so the next expansion would be almost like a year from now, basically. Oh, Pragmata. Is Pragmata coming out next year, though? Yeah, Pragmata is on my list. It's a really interesting one. 007 First Light. That one's not on my list. Yeah, you can ask a question. I mean, people have been asking questions, like, constantly. Is Witcher 3 or Witcher 4... Oh, is Witcher 4 coming out next year? Is this coming out next year? I don't know. Is GTA coming out next year? GTA 6? Is that coming out next year? I don't know. Are those? I don't think those are coming out next year. A Plague Tale Resonance? When is that? What is that? Oh, that's next year? What do you guys think is going to be the most demanding game to run next year? Witcher 4 is coming out next year. Oh, it'll probably be... I don't know. That one I don't know, because CD Projekt Red is... I don't know when they release their games. They're the type of people that release their games when they're ready. So, I mean, they released Cyberpunk in 2020. It didn't go so well. So they had to fix a lot of things. Oh no, it's UE5. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's time for me to go back to Genshin Impact. I don't know, man. Like, you know what finally got me to quit Genshin Impact? Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter made me quit Genshin Impact. It's funny because Genshin Impact made me quit Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, and now Monster Hunter Wilds came out and made me quit Genshin Impact. So it's like I went from Monster Hunter to Genshin Impact, and now I've gone from Genshin Impact back to Monster Hunter. So it's kind of weird how that works. That is weird. For those that play Monster Hunter, I know we've got some people that watch the channel that are Monster Hunter people. So we've got title. So it's like January, or I guess late, or is that right? Late December is title update 4. GOG Mazios. And then January, it's like is that mid-January? Mid-January / early February is the winter festival of Accord. So the time that so for those of you that are like, you always like to tune into the Monster Hunter Wild live streams that we do on here, the next time you'll see me streaming Monster Hunter is basically the holiday season at the end of the year. GOG Mazios. And then we'll be doing the winter festival, because the festival that's going on right now is the fall festival, not the winter festival, the fall. This is the Halloween one. So we've got the winter one is going to be mid-January, early February. And this will be the last festival in Monster Hunter Wilds before they start repeating. So, because we did the spring, we've covered every single Monster Hunter festival on this channel up until now. Like, we did the spring one back in mid-April, early May. So think about that for a second. The first month of Q2, aka April, that was the first festival. That was the spring festival. Then they had the summer festival. When was that? July, mid-July, early August. So the first month of Q3, that's July. So now here we are in the fall festival, and this one started in mid-October into early November, ending early next week. So Q4, first month of Q4 is October. So I know it's not what do they call it? Calendar or geographical winter, but it's like the way I always look at the year nowadays. Q1 is winter. So January through, now I know it doesn't line up depending on where you are in the world, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere, but winter is Q1. Spring is Q2, summer is Q3, fall is Q4. That's kind of how, I mean, obviously, you know, that's not always true. At least, what do they call it? Meteorologically or whatever. Whatever. Geographically, not true, because, you know, oftentimes winter is like, people consider December, January, February, winter, and some people consider March, April, May, spring, and June, July, August, winter, etc. But really, if you look at it from a official like calendar perspective, Q1 is winter, Q2 is spring, Q3 is summer, Q4 is fall. So we are currently in Q4, hence we are in the fall festival in Monster Hunter. So, But, you know, it varies where you are in the world. But anyway, so basically the next big Monster Hunter Festival is going to be mid-January, early February. So like I said moments ago when we started talking about gaming, for me personally, all the gaming content that I want to do is all next year. Like, there's nothing in this month and next month that I care to, like, play, you know, in terms of new games coming out. So all my stuff, all my games are next year. The next Monster Hunter thing is next year. Final Fantasy expansion is next year sometime, you know, like, yeah. All right. Is that after the Monster Hunter Wilds optimization patch? Okay, good question. Monster Hunter optimization patch is Title Update 4. It is supposed to be included in Title Update 4. Title Update 4 adds Gagmazios. So when Gagmazios decides to show up, that is when the optimization patch is supposed to happen. The festival comes after that. Case in point, remember Omega. Omega came out with Title Update 3. The Fall Festival of Accord, the Dreamspell Festival, did not show up until like 3 weeks after Omega. So basically December is Title Update 4, and that's going to be optimization patch and Gagmazios. All right. Well, I don't think anybody's panic buying RAM right now. It's because the manufacturers have to deliver their orders. There's a bunch of lead times that are tied to their DDR5 manufacturing. In particular, things like HBM. I mean, it's not just HBM. It is DDR5. And you know what it's for? It's for the servers. It's RDIMM DDR5 for servers. But yeah, it's HBM is included in there. I mean, it's all part of it. Okay, guys. Well, I think that covers pretty much everything I want to talk. This goes way beyond. So we're at the 3-hour mark. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, we do these open forum, free form discussions every Thursdays on this show, Tech Thursdays. And feel free to tune in, ask technical related questions during the live stream. If it's a good question, if it ends up being its own discussion point, it might end up as a actual talking point in the live stream. And if it's really good, it might end up becoming its own YouTube video. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. We will be doing a gaming live stream. I have no idea what we're going to be doing. Maybe it will be Strix Halo. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Maybe it'll be that Threadripper AI computer again or something. I have to look through it or look through Strix Halo and figure out like how I want to set that up so that I can stream on it again, because I have since moved that computer, that mini PC, to a different setup, so it isn't even like set up to do any kind of live streaming. But I'll look to see if I can do that. Otherwise, we'll be streaming something this weekend, gaming related. So if you're somebody who wants to ask tech questions, you couldn't get your question in during Thursdays, you can ask it on the weekend stream. That stream is a different kind of vibe. It's not as focused on tech like Tech Thursdays is. But that doesn't mean that I won't answer the question if I'm playing a game. So it just kind of depends. So feel free to tune in, join us on the weekend for the gaming stream. And if not, I will see you guys next Thursday